Come on, Thomas. All right. So, cool. So yeah, today I wanted to go over a little bit of how to set up a training appointment, right? And also getting referrals a little bit into that as well. We're growing right now, so that means we should be going on more appointments, and that means we should be getting more referrals, which leads to even more appointments. So you get the point, right? So the QA that I wanted to talk about today was one that I went on with Mei Lin, who's on Sushil's team. She actually just started with us less than 2 weeks ago, and she's already done with her studying, and then also just got her first client. So very excited for her. Yeah. So when she first came in, came to an op meeting, came back the next day, got started. Then we started building her list. We always use the 4-minute name game, right? You guys can find that on our YouTube. There are examples on there. Because, you know, one thing I always tell the new person, right? Think of this as having a grand opening for your business. If you're gonna have a grand opening for, let's say, a restaurant, you want as many people to know about it as possible, or just a few people, right? So now we're gonna play a brainstorming game, blah, 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 and then we go into that. And then I had her label all the people who are macho, right? Anyone who's new in here? Let me see if I can test somebody. Okay, fine, shot. Right, do you remember what macho stands for?
Married, children. I know it's employed, but I don't know what and owns a home.
Yes.
I don't know what the O stands for.
Yes, you got it. That's right. Great job. Okay. Who trained you?
What do you mean?
You're just here. Don't worry about it.
I just started.
He trained himself, okay? He's a genius. And then I always have them pick the three closest people to them, right? Because you want to meet the people who love you and trust you the most, because those are the people who are going to want to help you the most, and they also end up being the people who gives you the most referrals as well, right? So that's why you want to meet those people first. And then we send the character reference text, super easy, right? Whether or not the recruit has a lot of credibility or if they're really good at marketing themselves, you can just use the text, and they don't have to go into a whole spiel with the people that they know. And then the trainer calls. I always try to call, if not the same day or the next day, okay? And book up that appointment for the trainee. So the client for Mei Lin was actually one of her former coworkers, and they have a really close relationship, so that's why that's the first QA we ever went on, and it was a close too. But it wasn't actually a super easy close. He did give us some objections, right? Oh, actually, I wanted to also go over this real quick. So the first time, we actually had to reschedule him. The first time we met he wanted to meet over Zoom. It was just more convenient that way because of time scheduling. We do like to try to meet people in person, especially the people who are really close to us. But we met him on Zoom, but he was like, I saw him like walking around because he was on his phone, and he was kind of distracted. There was a lot of noise in the background. Just so you know, if they're not in the mindset or in the place to sit down with you and really listen to you, especially if they're on Zoom, just reschedule it. It's gonna be a waste of time, right? Because they're just not gonna listen anyways, and again, waste of your time, waste of their time. So we did reschedule that, and I made sure that Mei Lin talked to him about, like, hey, listen, like, we rescheduled it, like, make sure you're there, right? Sit on the camera properly, stuff like that. Because your trainer is going to do most of the talking and most of the selling for you, right? You just gotta kind of set the table a little bit, and this is some of the things that I tell a new person, right? So if you're new, take as many notes as possible, right? Try to be word for word as much as possible, especially on the questions that are being asked. When they first come join on Zoom, or if we're in person, when we walk through the door, right? Make sure you introduce your trainer, right? Mr. and Mrs. Klein, this is my trainer, Val, this is my friends, family, right? And if they're married and you don't see the spouse on there, make sure you ask, right? Hey, where's blah, 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 right? Are they coming? Like, how much longer do you need, right? If they don't have their camera on, ask them to turn their camera on as well. It's much better as you as the new person to ask them, right? Because you know them. A lot easier for you to ask than for the trainer to do that. So if you can do that. And then write down any questions and, okay, I went over that already, and do not interrupt during the presentation, right? There's a flow to the presentation, so you don't want to interrupt that. You'll ruin that flow and might not get a close there. And then also, the next time, I always tell the recruit that they're not going to be doing a lot of the speaking, but at the end, they'll ask for referrals, right? That's their most important job. So anyways, back to the objection, right? So now, by the way, does anyone know, for the people who are in here who are a little bit newer, right? But does anyone know why we ask people on this page, how much money do they waste? Let's see, Nancy. You look nervous, so I picked on you, I'm sorry.
To show the difference of how much the compound interest is.
Okay, sure. That's true. Robert, you know?
Their budget.
Their budget? Okay. What about it, though? How does that help you close?
So when you go to the last slide, when you quote them, be able to put a budget together that fits what they're already spending.
Okay, sure, yeah, sure. Anyone else? Any ideas? No? What were you gonna say?
To see if they ought to buy this, then give me the fact.
Okay, sure. So, kind of everything, but yes, so the budget, right? And later, if they say, for example, I don't have any money, I don't think I can afford this, then you have receipts, right? You can pull up those receipts. Hey, listen, you know, you waste money, right? So, anyway, so the client, he was like, at the point where we go over, I don't have that slide on here, but after the income protection slide, I asked on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate your desire to make sure that your children are properly protected? And he said, I want to say 10, but 8. So then I was like, okay, so why do you say that, right? And he was like, oh, well, I'm going to be moving right now, just got a lot going on, and you know, I just think that it's better if I get started once after I move. So I was like, okay, that's understandable. So now you're just saying that you feel like you can't really afford it right now. Is that what you're saying? And he's like, yeah, exactly. And I was like, okay, well, you know, earlier you did say that you spend, and he said $300 to $500 a week, you guys, okay?
Whoa.
So he was like, you said you spend $300 to $500 a week, so which one of those things is more important than making sure that your children are protected? And he was like, yeah, but I need those things to be happy and sane, right, or whatever. So I was like, oh my goodness. I almost gave up there, but I was like, no, I gotta protect these children, right? So I was like, okay, so that's understandable, right? I understand that you need some of these things for your sanity and to be happy. And as an advisor, I would never tell my client to completely stop spending, right? I understand you need some of those things, but wouldn't it make sense for us to just use a small part of that to make sure that our children are properly protected? And he was like, yeah, I guess so, right? And I was like, okay, so if we can create a program that's affordable for you and it fits comfortably within your budget, is there any reason why you wouldn't move forward with that plan? And he was like, no. So then I just went right into the close, right? So if you guys notice, right, if you've heard the presentation a couple of times, that's the question that's in the no insurance slide, right? So this is why it's really important for you to know all of the closing questions that are in the presentation, because not every single appointment is going to go super smoothly and in chronological order, right? So sometimes you gotta kind of play it by ear and close even sooner if you need to, which is what I did in this situation, right? He was an A, so you know how A's, they don't really like to sit on Zoom for a very long time, stuff like that, and listen to too many explanations, right? So I really just went into the close with that one. But yeah, that was her first act, so we were super excited for Maylin. And then getting referrals. So this is the biggest goal of the QA presentation, right? We go to meet our friends and family so that we can expand our market and get into new markets. But also you can leverage those referrals and recruit the client and, you know, help them make more money using that as well, right? So I wanted to go over this really quickly. I know I've done this before a couple of months ago, but since we have a lot of new people, this should be good to see. So Jeff Bezos, he says, if you build a great experience, customers tell each other about you, and word of mouth is very powerful. So the mentality behind this, getting referrals, right? You have unlimited places to go. If you can get really, really good at this skill set, you won't have a problem with getting on appointments, right? Because you'll always have people recommended to you. Number two, this is part of our compensation, right? If they go to any other company, they're either gonna have to spend way more money or pay that advisor for their time, but we do that for free for our clients. So in lieu of the fee, we just ask our clients to introduce us to more people. So remember that the referrals is part of your compensation, so make sure you get those referrals. Number three, make sure that you're doing a good job for our clients, right? Learn people's skills. When the client calls you, it's 911. They gotta trust and like you, right? They learn something new from us all the time. When we are on those appointments, you'll notice people are always like, wow, I didn't know this. If they agree that everyone needs our help, and they're gonna do business with us. Okay, so let me go over that really quickly. Oops. Okay, so the referral questions, and this is something that I got from Jen, right? She has a script as well. I don't know if she might have done a training on this before, so this works super well, and your trainer is going to set it up for you. So before I get on an appointment, I usually meet with the trainee at least 15, 20 minutes beforehand, and I practice this with them. And let me use Robert this time, right? So I'll tell you Robert, right? So when we get on the appointment, the only thing that you're going to be doing is getting referrals at the end, no matter if we close or not. That's what your responsibility is. So now, I sent you the questions on your cell phone, so let's role play a little bit here. I want you to just read the questions exactly like they're written there, and let me answer your question before we go on to the next one, right? So, go ahead.
Who do you know who deserves this education?
Some of my friends should know this.
What is their name?
Anna,
Anna? How do you know them?
through work,
Okay. What is their number?
703.
Gotcha. Are they married or engaged?
They are married.
Oh, cool. How many kids do they have?
They have 3 kids.
Great.
Goodness, I did not put it on here. And then who else do you know who would deserve this
Yes.
education, right?
Mhm.
Do you remember
Yes,
that from doing
yes.
it with Jen? Okay, so ask me.
Who else? Who else do you know deserves this education?
My friend David,
David? Okay. And how do you know David?
do work. Okay, great job, right? Exactly like that. So that was awesome. And you want to keep doing that, right? And the goal is to get 10.
Yeah.
If they tell you, I don't know any more people, there's one tip for you, okay? You can ask, let's think of one last person.
Think of one last.
Let's think of one last person, right? So notice, these are open-ended questions, okay, you guys? We're not asking yes or no questions. When you ask a yes or no question, you're giving them the opportunity to tell you no, right? So you gotta ask open-ended questions. And I tell my guys, I understand naturally, we're gonna ask a yes or no question, so just read it off the script, right? Just read it off what I sent you, and that will make it easy, right? So I always tell them that as well, because I know they're gonna end up saying a yes or no question, and that can ruin the referral, okay? So, couple of objections that I also go over with the recruit, right? If they say, I don't know anyone, stop the cap, right? So, don't give up. Don't give up, keep asking them more questions, right? Again, this is part of your compensation. Ask. Who do you know that just had a baby? Who do you know that just bought a house? Who do you know, Who in your family has children? Who at work has children? Just keep asking questions. If you ask really nicely, ask softly, right? Not, I have to yell right now because I need everyone in the back to hear me too, but that's not how I ask it in the appointment, right? I ask it very nicely, very softly, so that they don't get intimidated, right? And then if another objection that you might get is, let me talk to them before I give you their phone number. So this is what you're going to respond with. You know me, I won't call these people until you've talked to them first. I just need to have this written down to show that I've completed my training. So, and that's true, right? We're not gonna call those numbers until they talk to them first. But who knows why we get that number? Then, right there and then. Why is it important?
They'll forget. They won't get back to you.
Exactly, they won't get back to you.
Yeah.
99.9% of the time, they will forget to talk to those people if you don't get that phone number right there and then, okay? People have lives, right? They're not thinking about you 24/7. It's normal, it's fine, but that's why you gotta understand that and get that number right there and then by just saying this. So, and it works most of the time. So, especially if you have a relationship with them, which again, another reason why we meet with the people who are the closest to us, okay? So, okay, and then bonus tips. So, real quick, right? You can ask the client to pull out your phone, just look through your contacts. That's usually really helpful. Sometimes people just forget, right? So, but when they look through their contacts, they're gonna be like, oh my God, this person, this person, this person. It works very, very well all the time. Sorry guys, I keep hitting that button. Number 2, let's think of one last person. So we went over that already. Who do you know that's money motivated and keep their options open for work, right? If they don't know any more people who they feel could be a good client, you can ask for recruiting referrals as well. And then number 4, you can also ask the client, would you like to make some money from the referrals that you gave me? Kind of pique their interest, right? Maybe they want to make some extra money, and then you can kind of go into how they got to get licensed with us first, or we'll sit down with all of those people, share the commission with them, help them retire and put more towards their investments and things like that. So, yeah, do we have more time? Should I stop? Okay, cool. All right, so let me stop here. Thank you guys.